Listen, it's over.
Nice.
Absolutely, it's Shazam Poop calling out, asking if Numbers Committee is watching. She says, "I'm too good. I have a hat trick. You can't stop me." Let's see. He's still down by a goal.
That's a bold move. Let's see how it plays out.
He's gonna transition into it.
Jamie with the long ball. That's going to be off the backboard. The Devil and the goalie. Enigma with the goal. That's going to be the dagger for sure. 20.
Over to Bigelow from Judgmental. Bigelow gets first touch, can't get the second. Judgmental puts it into no man's land. Canadian Things there now with a lot of boost to work with. Air dribble towards that. Canadian Things with the game winner.
Ray waiting for it. Ball out in no man's land. Gets up. Gets the extra touch. Throws it through. Oh my gosh. Ray with the LOB putting in work like that's his JOB. And I cannot believe that is a one-man wrecking ball.
Watch out. Beck's really proven to be a game changer in this best of 7 here. A shot maybe coming down from Nautical, not able to read that touch from DQ though, and Ob trying to get another touch. DQ dumps it down. Don't forget, this is match point.
Welcome all. We are live with the final episode of what's going to be good old RSC pre-jump. I guess, can we call it RSC with what they just posted in the series suggestions or the notices? I don't know if we can, but this is week 13 of the pre-jump. You've got myself, Mr. Basardala. On my left, we've got Mr. Tech 4, and on my right, we've got Robert 7977 joining us once again. We are coming in with the last week of the championship week. What is this, week 3 now? We had Amy first. We had Contender and Prospect, Premier and Master for the first week or second week. And then, this week we just wrapped up Chally Elite, Rival, and Vet. It's been a real fun ride. Rob, can't we actually call this RSC anything related? Yeah. This has been kind of we're affiliated. And with what was posted in notices, man, I'm just saying that was a long read, and somebody had to goof up for that to happen. Does anybody know what caused that? But for those of you who haven't seen this before, this is our 3-man podcast. Got a little bit of a different overlay this week. Some we haven't really run before, but trying out new things is always a big part of the mission here, especially once we're wrapping up our first week. We have 4. Sorry, what's up? You don't need to be. Oh, I know what it is. I goofed. My bad. I had desktop audio muted. My bad, guys. I'm on fire tonight.
I liked it better when we couldn't hear Rob too.
Now everybody should be able to hear Rob and Tech. My bad, people. My bad. All right. Like I was saying, though, we've got 3-man podcast here today, kind of something unique, but we're going to roll right into Chally. Kind of an awkward spot for the pre-jump as we are 0 for 4 on Chally. We did not have anybody hit the mark. So, guys, first off, what happened? Squalls. They look great going into the finals, and then just collapsed.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here first, and before I talk anything specific, I do want to say Snack Time made some predictions in Elite. We'll talk about Elite later, but I forced him to make an apology video when he was eventually wrong, and that means if I'm going to do that to him, Panther, I owe you an apology. You demanded the same from me. Congrats on your championship. Not only were we all wrong, but watching that stream, Breadsticks came out and swept, and they played fantastic. You could tell that the chemistry was there. It was impressive, and I didn't recognize that, so I apologize. Hell of a job.
Dyer, it's not an apology video if we don't bust out the ukulele. I'm just saying.
My team advised me to say otherwise. However, I can sing. Anyway, yeah, Breadsticks coming out, 4-0 Squalls. It's obvious that none of us saw it, right? Like, none of us predicted that in the first place. And especially not for it to be that dominant. So if we're doing some apologies, man, I did not give you guys nearly the credit that you deserved. Congrats on a hell of a season. Congrats on getting a 2 seed. winning a hard-fought best of 5, and then dropping none in the finals, man. I mean, yeah, nothing to be said. Crazy run. 2 of the top 5 players in RPV, including the likely MVP in the Wheelman 95. Like, you have a... Wow, apparently Wheelman was also having major internet/Discord issues, and the in-game VC saved their butts. So, Squalls had things going their way, and the Breadsticks still made sure it was a 4-0. So, shout out them for just a dominant performance.
Well, and that was somebody I'd actually considered possibly getting on for the podcast this week. Wheelman 95 was super dominant all season long. I believe when we first talked about him way back in week 5 or 6, he was sitting at close to a 95, almost a 100 flat at some point. Let me pull it up here just real quick before we get too far into it.
With a 99.6
Yeah,
SPV
that's nuts.
and 112 IDR, good for a 105.7 RPV. Simply just whack stats from the guy.
And if it wasn't for the absolute absurdity that is the other 2 finals that we're going to have interviews for tonight, I mean, it would have been clear-cut best selection we'd have had. I mean, quite frank, Wheelman, if you're watching this, incredible season, full stop.
For sure.
We know Breadsticks kind of had a weird spot, right? So they, first round in the wild card, they played Shinigami. They were the 7th seed. Shinigami, midway through the season, looked real bad. I marked them down as a dark horse team, I think in week 6, 7, and they were really struggling, but they really turned it around. I mean, they made some solid changes. I thought when they acquired a couple people that were a little bit more toxic, you know, they weren't going to be able to get things turned around, but they figured it out. They made it work. I think they cut one of his players, actually. But, no, they 3-0'd Shinigami. They 3-2'd Shock, 3-1'd Havarti Hustlers, and then just waltzed on the Squalls.
And let's talk about Shock real quick, right? Comes out as the 8 seed, takes out Fusion, 5-game series, and then takes Breadsticks to a 5-game series as well. Obviously, we know Breadsticks got the better of them, but you can look at that and say that, oh, Breadsticks had the really easy run. They played the 7 seed, the 8 seed, the 4th seed, but obviously Shock wasn't an even easy matchup because they took out Fusion and still took 2 games off Breadsticks.
Then kind of piggybacking off that, right? If you look at any 8 seed, first of all, you don't expect them to take anything off a 1 seed, let alone win the series. And then secondly, they took the eventual champions to more games than anyone else in the entire tier did, right? So there's a real chance that if the Breadsticks just were a little bit worse that day, didn't perform as quite where they were at, quite what their abilities were, that you could have seen a miracle run from this 8 seed that is just not common.
Oh man, we'd have been an actual Titan killer. I mean, for sure. If they had beaten the Breadsticks, I mean, Breadsticks, congrats on your champs. But let's be real here. If Shock had somehow pulled it off against you guys, and in the opening week, or the opening day of playoffs for Chally, knocked out the 1 and the 2 seed, that would be wild, for sure. Tech, I mean, you had the Squalls listed as a clean sweep. You thought we were, you know, I think the rest of us, we all marked them down as winning it in 6, 4-2. You had it in the sweep. What happened? What were we looking at wrong between the Squalls and the Breadsticks?
Well, I mean, let's be simple. I'm not going to try to make this out as anything better than it was. What we had wrong was the team. I knew it was going to be a sweep. That was obvious. I didn't fucking know shit. But we will the Squalls. I thought they were good. I mean, I think they are good. I still think they're good. But Breadsticks, man, I overlooked them. And I think one of the really cool things about what we do here, and not to talk about us or anything, but I also, when I ran a podcast for Amy a few seasons back, I noticed the same thing. I've seen a lot of chats this season where usually if we have a take on here, it gets people riled up, and people seem to play better when you say that they're going to lose. And I would like to think that Breadsticks saved a few clips of us saying how bad they were, and watched those right before the match. And yeah, so Panther in the chat saying they were hella motivated, and I'm super happy that we're able to contribute to that kind of attitude. That's the best way I can say that I was wrong, but still like I did something nice for the league. But
Dude,
I mean,
I've got-
just congrats.
I've got DMs. I've got people who messaged me and they were like, "Hey, can you not predict that we're gonna win? Can you not like don't motivate the other team?" And I get it. You know, when you see 4 people all sit up there on their camera, show their face, look at the camera, and say, "Your team's probably gonna lose." It's probably not much else in this league that's gonna make you really want to grind out, you know, 4 or 5 matches of just an absolute beatdown.
On the topic of things being clipped for motivation, shout out to our eventual elite champions that we'll talk to later as well. As a thought, thoroughly deserved on an incredible season. Anyway, back to you, boss.
No, I was going to reference the fact that AMI did the same way. I know when I was talking with the AMI team, we were getting them prepped for the finals, and they saw that Tech 4 was like, "Nah, they'll probably get knocked out by the Rollers." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." That AMI team kind of took that to heart a little bit, and I don't know if they reached out to you or not, Tech, but they were very much like, "Oh, if you see Tech, you let them know we were right. We knew we could win."
Oh, I heard some things. I absolutely did. I'm glad I did. Again, I'll say I made a crazy prediction. I was 1 game off from it. But yeah,
Dude.
after that 1 game didn't happen, man, they made a run, and it was impressive.
RSC's like any other sport. I mean, Rob, big sport guy, would know. Any given day, you know, on a normal sport, you can lose. Your best team can get knocked off. But in Rocket League, dude, all it takes is one person popping off hard, and that team gone.
Yeah.
They're championship bound.
Well, I think that actually ties perfectly back into Chally and exactly what we're talking about here today with the Squalls and Breadsticks, which is that we all thought. Skullsy's let me know that Greg has the receipts from under I'm man. They've been reposted dozens of times. Anyway, looking back into the anyone can win kind of mindset, right? We all picked the Squalls to win, and that's because, you know, we had our own reasons. But what's fascinating is that all it takes is you to get yourself there. Once you're in the competition, it's anybody's ballgame, right? So sure, maybe they're hold on, what seed? Maybe you're a 2 seed coming in, right? Maybe you're a 4 seed, maybe you're an 8 seed. All it takes is getting to that match, and if you play your best Rocket League and they play anything but their best, man, it's anybody's game, and that's why we play the game, right? If it was all about just who performed better over the regular season, there's no reason to have a playoffs. But we play to see teams like Shock upset. We play to see teams like Breadsticks, who we count out, sweep, right? So it's, as much as I hate being wrong, man, I love being proved wrong. I love seeing that stuff happen. That's really cool.
100%. And I think we've given, you know, the Breadsticks their just due. Big shout out, big congratulations once again to your season 17 Challenger Championship run. But we're going to move on to Rival here, moving on to your best all-time, all-tier winning percentage team with the Hammerheads, 87.5%. Beating out the Tempest from Season 4 under Shamu. They're elite tier. They went 59-9. Step aside the 56-8 team led by Red Steel, Defiance's God, and Hybrid Paragon. Took that chip for Rival. Speaking of Defiance's God, we've got him in the booth tonight. Defiance, how are you doing, my man?
Hey guys, what's going on? It's a pleasure to be on the podcast with you guys. I'm doing pretty good.
For sure. I mean, first off, congratulations. Fantastic season. You guys balled out every week. You know, I had to watch pretty much every time you guys were live, like when you took 2 L's to Lacuna. I'm just saying. But, you know, big props, big shout out.
Appreciate it. Yeah, stream fluke. I think that's what it was. I think, I definitely think first stream definitely got to everybody's mental. We weren't really playing our game, and we just kind of let the crowd and the stream just get the best of us.
Hey, fair enough. Well, I'm glad you guys didn't repeat that because you took away the chip. Unfortunately, none of us got that right as well. So it is what it is. But congratulations. I'll just have to ignore that I was wrong there again.
Thanks.
Defiance. I ask every team this. I've asked every team so far since they've been on. When did you guys get that feeling that this was a championship caliber team? When did you guys, when you got the roster built, or when you were maybe in scrims, that you knew that, playing with Red Steel, playing with Hybrid Paragon, playing with, this incredible team with like Lil Panda, when did you know? When was it apparent?
It's funny you bring that up. When we first started playing together, I don't know, it was just weird. Like, we all just had chemistry with each other. Like scrims, the way we played, it's like it felt like we've been playing with each other for a while, but we all just really met each other, and we were just out there doing our thing. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say really just from the beginning, we all just felt so comfortable with each other's play style, and there was some things we had to work out. And thanks to our coach Rocket. Based off our play styles, we just kind of adjusted from there, and it definitely, even though we dropped some games, it's whatever, it happened, it happens, but yeah, we just adjusted a little bit the way we play, just based off of our aggression, and we just kind of kept that train moving from there.
Sweet.
So real quick, we talk about greatest team of all time, and we do it for a reason, because you guys are statistically, and we'll kind of get into some stuff later as well. But being in that conversation, right? I don't remember how many games you played before you even dropped one. It was absolutely insane. Was there ever any time that you guys felt like there was any additional pressure because all eyes were on you?
Yeah, like I said, when just that first game on stream, I know, like, going through, like, it's my first season playing, so I think it is for a couple of the other guys too. I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I think just knowing that, we were going up, just looking at records for other teams, and like I said, just that first streamed game, I think that's really when we started to feel pressure. It's like, okay, it's just a stream. Our Red Steel actually would stream scrims and games every day, so I don't know why. I guess because it was a bigger event, I guess the pressure just kind of really hit us. But yeah, after that first loss on stream, we had a conversation as a team, and we were like, look, we can't let this pressure get to us, because come playoffs, most of the games, if not all the games, are going to be streamed on a bigger audience. So I think we had like one or two games after where we reached out to the other teams and asked if they wouldn't mind being streamed, or have our games being streamed. And I don't know, I feel like it definitely helped us out a little bit in the long run for playoffs. But yeah, I think that was the only time we really felt pressured.
Appreciate that.
So kind of piggybacking off that, right? You talk about stream pressure. You talk about pressure for being the best team. I don't know if you're aware, but my Polaris team is the one that you knocked off in the semis, in the Lunar Finals. And I was wondering, like, so if you want to walk me through that series, because for those who don't know, Polaris took the first two and Hammerheads reverse swept. And I think that's something that none of us saw happening. It was kind of whichever team, we believe, whichever team got hot and came out swinging was going to take it. And so if you want to walk me through those first couple games and then exactly how you bounced back, what were you thinking? What did you change? Did you calm yourself? What allowed you to come out, take out that series, and then sweep in the finals with that momentum?
I would say I would give all the credit to our captain, Red Steel. Like, he definitely throughout the season, like, I wouldn't say it's really frowned upon, but just the way he, like, the way we talk to each other. It's like whenever we're playing bad, we just kind of look at each other and we're like, all right, we're playing bad, just do better. Like, and it's funny as it is, the simplicity of it. At the end of the day, that's really what it is. We have to play better individually. When we're going for solo plays, play better as a team. But yeah, I mean, game one, we threw our fourth, our sub hybrid in the beginning. I don't know. There's a couple people who realized it. But during playoffs, we started him just to kind of get the other team's defense comfortable. And then my play style and his play style are completely different. So when I would come in, it would kind of throw off the defense, maybe the offense. Unfortunately, that didn't work for game two of that series. But after that, we just kind of just waited at the post lobby screen. Like I said, had that conversation where we're playing bad, you just got to do better, and we just said we have to take these next 3 games if you want to stay in it. And fortunately for us, that's what ended up happening. But yeah.
Hey, fair enough. Smart decisions really seem to pay off. But speaking of being a little bit under pressure, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but maybe I'm not here. Last week of the regular season, you guys had to 4-0 sweep to take that record, to steal that percentage win due to kind of a rougher week the week before. What was kind of going through your... Were you guys like under extra pressure, I guess, for that last week? Did you know that, like, hey, we need this 4-0 here?
Not really. I know a couple people in our franchise brought it up and they were like, hey, you guys pretty much already have the rival record in the books. Now it's just if you guys want to, make Hall of Fame and, beat the all-time best record, you guys need to sweep. And we didn't really think too much of it. We didn't let that little bit of pressure get too much under our skin. And we just kind of just played our game and, just let it play out. If it was meant to be, it was meant to be. And, so we didn't, like I said, we didn't really think too much of it. We just kind of let it play out.
Fair enough. Tech, my man, what do you got?
I mean, I don't have much else. I mean, it was an incredible run. I mean, you have that, as Panther's saying, the 24-0 before losing a single match. Going on stream, you talked about that pressure when you come around with that 2-2. Learning from that. I've had so many teams that I have brought to playoffs or finals, and then all of a sudden they just kind of die there. The stream pressure gets to them at that point, and being able to get a game on stream early, even if it doesn't go well, I find is so important just to be ready for what that's like. Honestly, like, I was surprised that Lacuna even agreed to do that, because, I mean, they were like a 500 team going against a 24-0 team.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a fantastic run, because from there, it was just, I mean, other than that last week where it wasn't a perfect week for you, but any other team would look at it and say, okay, you had a fantastic run, like nothing wrong. Come out, drop the first 2 games to Polaris and go, well, we just got to play better. And then you do. Like, I don't really have any other questions. It's just a phenomenal run, and gotta say, rats. Like, we'll remember this for a long time.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Rob, you got any other final questions for you there?
I was interested in the sitting yourself for Paragon. Did you feel like there was a decent like drop off at all? Did you feel like you were the same team, just operating slightly differently? Like, walk me through that process of benching him to kind of lull the opposition in.
Yeah, I mean, so I wouldn't say so. Based off it, yeah, there was some adjustments in how we played, playing him, compared to me, because our coach even pointed this out. When I play and I'm in that third man position, I play really aggressive third, and I think that's the biggest thing that kind of sets Hybrid and myself apart, is just that third man role. So again, just I think that was the only thing that really, as far as like play styles, that we had to kind of tweak mid-game or once we made that sub.
Fair enough. How many did you do that during the regular season at all? Was this a postseason thing? How many series did you decide to try that?
It was mainly just in playoffs. During, I think once we noticed that we were on a run, we just kind of stuck to the main team for a little bit, just to kind of, ride it out and see how far we can get. After we got that first loss, we were like, okay, now. But during scrims, we would always alternate, make sure Hybrid gets playing time, just to get him comfortable with the rest of the team. So it wasn't like he wasn't playing at all. But, during that beginning of the season when we started our 24, I think 25-0 run, we definitely just kind of stuck to the main team. Like I said, just to kind of see how far we can get.
Dope.
Makes a lot of sense.
I've only got one last question for you. You played quite a bit of playoffs there. Who was the team that you guys was there a team that you guys were kind of really hoping to stick it to? Somebody you could knock out of the playoffs and really, kind of end their season prematurely.
Nobody really. Like I don't want to. Me personally, like I'm not the kind of guy, just to hope on anybody's downfall.
Okay.
They were all good games. I think. Out of the teams we played, though, I think in the finals, I think we would have rather it been Tort Reform instead of the Carrots. Nothing against them, but just we never really during the regular season we never really played Carrots and during the season for scrims or like actual games. So we didn't necessarily kind of know how they played, but I think Tort Reform was definitely one of the few teams in the rival tier that actually, made us, actually sit back and like, all right, we just have to play Rocket League,
Fair enough. Well, I know I speak for all of us when I say thank you for coming on. Congratulations once again on a great rival season run. And just, good job on the season altogether, man.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's an absolute pleasure to be on this podcast here with you guys doing this interview. And, thanks again.
Hey,
Congrats.
Thanks for being on, my guy.
Thanks, man. Congrats on an incredible season.
Thanks.
You take it easy, my man.
You guys too.
Let's see here. Let's see if I can get the interview box to drop away nice and neat. Yes. Oh, look at me go. Absolutely killed on a production here. Anywho, as we move on, we're moving on to this new section that I have titled Break Here. We don't have an exclusive 8 clip of the week. It's kind of died down. There's not a lot of, plays going on right now. So we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit of trivia here from Tech 4, not from Rob as normal. But before we get into trivia, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about what's coming up this week. So tomorrow, we have the Squad Clash tournament hosted by Chelsea Acacia and the events committee. I'm not super familiar with the way this is all set up. I believe they've already listed out the way the brackets are going to go. Have you guys seen that yet?
Yeah, there was something in event announcement. Something about the upper tier didn't have enough interest. Something.
Yeah, they put brackets out. Right
Okay.
In the event announcement.
So they're getting kind of an interesting lineup here where they're combining 2 different tiers. I believe they've got Rival and Vet combined, and then they have Contender and Prospect combined, which is going to be kind of unique. We're really dipping our feet this offseason into a lot of inter tier competition. Speaking of which, I can get one actually put up for you. The events committee, in partnership with certain someone, have put on a tier takeover. We're going to have a finals matchup against Mr. Tech 4 in Dagon against good old who's that?
Pepperoni pizza.
Pepperoni pizza. me get that transitioned over. Boom. There you guys go. So, a little bit of a story here. Originally, I threw down a little bit for a prize pool. Teams were, on board. Players are on, or we got a couple good people here for a good lineup on casting. I'll get to that here. But Array and the stats committee wanted to make sure that they got their name out there a little bit, get a little bit of advertising going, drum up some interest in stats committee. So they've expanded the pot a little bit. We are currently up to $100 prize pool for the winning team. And fellas, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited for this matchup.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch Tech 4 sweep.
Tech Force Sweep. Man,
Yes,
I was
sir.
going to come on and make some predictions here, but Tech
No need.
Force Sweep from Rob. Wow.
If you want to, is it best of 5, best of 7?
It is best of 7.
I'll give pepperoni pizza a game or two. If you want to call it Dagon in 5, Dagon in 6, I wouldn't be surprised. Dagon in 7 or pepperoni pizza taking it? I don't know, man. I don't see it happening. I think you got the greatest contender team of all time versus a prospect team that got really hot at the right time.
Fair enough. I think it's a toss-up, but I think regardless of who the winner is, this might end up getting Tech double promoted if they can go ahead and take a good string of games here.
Yeah, I know there's money on the line, but we might just have to throw just to stay in prospect this season. I don't know. No,
Hey,
we'll come
enough.
out. We'll come out. We'll play the best we can. I mean, here's the thing: we had a really good season. There's definitely can be arguments made that we would have been a fine team in prospect, just like we were very good in contender. But there's a reason why that entire team is prospect and we're all contender. I hope to put on a really good show. What I'm really excited about is getting our 4th Illusion Chaos some time on a stream. So you guys will get to see him play. But realistically, Pepperoni Pizza should take this. We'll put on the best show we can, and hopefully we can win. We're definitely not going to hold back. But I appreciate you guys and Tulane and Array just being willing to kind of put down for this and make it an event.
Also, Tech, you said there's a reason that you guys are contender and they're prospect, and that reason is numbers committee. That reason does not necessarily reflect skill entirely, because I would argue that if you were contender players or your average contender players, you wouldn't have put up the greatest contender season of all time. And when you see so many promos go up and have great prospect seasons, shout out my current prospect captain Iwukami. He's come on here a couple times. But he had a 65 SPV in contender and then had a 67 or so in prospect. And if that's a jump that one player can make, you're talking about 3 players with a 70, 80 plus, 2 players with a 90 plus, right? If that can scale for one player into prospect, I could see it scaling for you and potentially being not just your average prospect team, but I think that you guys would have, I don't know how you would have done in a prospect playoff series. I don't know your team that well, but I think that you would have made some noise in the tier. And I think it's been the same thing with Hammerheads and Vet, right? Like, if a team gaps a tier, if they set records in the tier, they can compete in the one above. And I think it's going to be really, really cool to watch.
Well, tune in Wednesday to find out.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you mentioned that. I've actually got a second graphic here for all of our viewers at home to see what our lineup's going to be. Like Tech was saying, Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST. This will not be streamed on the Pre-Jump podcast. This is going to be streamed on RSC Solar. So as long as you guys are paying attention, you should see us live. We've got a great lineup here on the desk. For casters for Wednesday, we're going to have Boss Radala and T-Sant producing Tazlian. Really entirely willing, going to jump in and be a great producer as he's been all season. And we're getting a best of 7 series. So I've got those both posted in the events committee, in the podcast announcements. And shoot, I even put that in general at one point to let Skim know what was going on. So please tune in, because if we can get good turnout, this might be something we'll start doing every season. We'll start taking an incredible team that killed their tier and just kind of matching them up with somebody from the tier above to see, hey, maybe Rob was right. Maybe this team probably should have been the entire tier above. So we'll see. I do have one more here. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. It didn't show. That's great. I love it. I love it.
For
love
what
it,
it's
love
worth, Panther lets us know that Pepperoni Pizza just lost in the event in a rematch with Whiskey Business.
Ooh, that's spicy.
it. Ooh, dang. Well, I had it up for a brief second. I'll put it back up again just so we can talk about it here. Array Stats Committee head, let me know. You know, Stats Committee is the backbone of the RC. They enter, process, and validate all of the data that goes into league stats, awards, and numbers. They're actively looking for new members to keep the league running smoothly. And, you know, I would suspect every committee right now is looking for new members. I got, against my will, placed into events committee by Monty. So shout out Monty for just saying, your events committee now. Dude, he almost put me in stats. I almost ended up being on 3 committees in a night because I opened my mouth. So, oof. Last matchup. Rob, do you want to tell our viewers what it is about on Monday? Certain other show match put on by Chelsea Acacia. Rival tier.
I'm gonna have you take away this one, Ross. I appreciate you letting me have the opportunity to do this, but I think I'm gonna give it back to you. I think you would say it better than I would, whoever the rival tier is playing.
So Chelsea reached out. They're going to have the rival backdraw champions Cursed playing against the rival champions Hammerheads on Monday. And I'm gonna be honest. I don't foresee this going well.
I think the Wednesday match is going to be closer.
I think so too, which is really messed up because like the Monday match is between 2 people in the same tier. Man, I think
there's a lot of potential for some fun. I think it'll be a great watch, and it'll draw some views for RSC that might get some new faces to the league too.
Fair enough. But now that we've talked about what's upcoming for this week on the RSC Solar Stream, Tech, let's get some trivia in for the night.
Yeah, sure. So, first off, thanks for having me do this. Rob, thanks for doing the trivia all season. Not taking your job away. Just, of course, part of.
Seems like it.
Just
well,
hopping in. You got some great questions. I'm excited to hear.
So we, as part of Player Recognition Committee, we're a new subcommittee that started this season. Basically, we're the ones that do Clip of the Week, the Player of the Week, that kind of stuff, league leader updates. But part of that is we will be adding all of the new broken records to the end of the season stream. I've already got everything over to Croc, so you guys will be seeing all of that. We'll be able to truly celebrate all the successes of everybody. So, I picked out a few questions. If I could count, I'll tell you how many there are. I think it's 6. Looks like 6. Might be 5. I don't know. We'll figure it out. However, all these questions are about records broken this season. And I think some of them are going to be pretty easy for you guys, and some of them are going to be a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
You ready to jump
I'm
right
ready.
in?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
First one is going to be incredibly hard. What team broke the most RSC records in Season 17?
Hammerheads.
Boss, do you have anything different?
I'm going to say
Them or
Dagon.
Dagon, yeah. I think.
Yeah, you know what, chat? You can answer too, 100%, because we're not gonna get a lot of these right. So let's see what you have to say about it.
Boss, what was your answer?
I said Dagon.
Okay, answer is Hammerheads.
Okay, makes sense.
So individually, actually not individually, just as a team records, they broke 4 records. We've talked about the win percentage record being broken. The last win percentage record was held by Trash Bags in season 6 with a record of 51-12. Of course, Hammerheads went 56-8. They also broke the points record. Silverbacks in season 8 scored 75,935 points. Hammerhead scored 78,249 points. They broke the goals record. In season 11, Wasps put up 222 goals. This season, Hammerheads put up 225. They also broke the assist record. Wasps also had that with 165, and Hammerheads put up 169. For reference, there's only two team records that are tracked that Hammerheads did not break, and that was both saves and shots. They broke all of the records.
Given up more pressure, man. Ah.
Yeah, how dare they not just allow more shots on net? I mean, come on, man.
That is insane. That is nuts. Yeah. Shots against, I believe, Julian. Did they break the shots for? Or
shots for. There isn't a shots against record, I don't believe.
Oh,
wait,
so they
broke
did not
the most
have
goals
the
in
most
a
shots.
season, but
They
didn't
did
break
not have the
shots
most
for?
shots. Correct. They had a higher
That's
shooting
efficiency.
percentage.
Holy cow.
And my team took back-to-back. So
They did.
so close to greatness.
Oh, man.
Question 2. Which specific individual RSC record was broken by the most people in season 17?
Is that like only in-game stats?
Yes. So there is one record of in-game stats, or I guess not in-game stats. It's just a record, an individual record that was broken by the most people this season.
Saves?
You also will have to tell me what tier.
Saves. Rival.
It's a pretty good bet. With I'm gonna do shots rival.
You both got the tier right. This answer is a little bit more obvious. I think you guys both overthought it a little bit. It is wins in rival.
See, okay, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I tried to back out after I
That's what
told
I
you
was
the
trying
wrong
to
thing.
figure out when I said in-game stats, because I was thinking about like goals, shot stuff, and then whatever.
So, in season 15, JK knocked 2 from Warrior Wasps, won 49 games. That's the old record. We had Defiance as God on here with 53 wins this season. His teammates, Little Panda with 52, Red Steel with 51 wins.
That's nuts.
Hey, question.
Yeah.
Who you said it was what team in season 15?
Warrior Wasps.
What happened to that team in the first round? They got knocked out of the playoffs by yours truly. Let's go.
Dang.
Love it.
Oh, God. I got a homer at some time, and I don't have a team, so I'm homering for myself.
I love
right?
it. I love it.
Oh, God.
What
All right, what you
RSC
got?
record did elite player Donald break in season 17?
It's got to be demos. It's got to be demos. Or is it ground?
Most messages in tier chat.
Oh, no.
Oh,
is that what he
no.
broke?
No.
Oh,
It's an
probably.
official.
Okay.
Everything is an official RSC record.
I don't think it's demos because Naro
Okay.
led elite in demos. So it couldn't have been demos for Donald. What could he have possibly done? He didn't do anything. I actually.
like ground power or something.
Big pads picked up. I don't know.
So very close. Skullsy 9 actually broke the record for big pads collected by 20.
Wow.
However, Donald broke the record for overall boost
I knew
collected.
it was some Donald ass stat like that, man. That is the most, I was so close. That is the most Donald stat I've ever heard.
So Nataro in season 14 for Man's Revenge had it with over 170,000 boost over the course of the season.
Oh,
Donald over 172,000.
man. I'm gonna give myself like a C-. Like
No, that's good. You were very close.
I'm on the right path. I knew it wasn't anything scoring or defending related, so it had to be boost related.
So here's a fun one. One GM this season broke a record as a player. The question is, who is that GM? And before you guess, the other interesting thing above this is the person he broke the record from is also a current GM.
Tech 4 wins Shamu bang
That's what I'm going with.
in a season. Cause
The GM, the old GM that had this record was Bex.
oh, I don't know then. I thought it was season 4. Because Shamu was on that season 4 Nips team. What the fuck has Bex done?
I don't know, man. What is Tech? What's the
Yeah,
answer?
what is it?
So Bex in season 15 was demoed 80 times. Dolphino took 82 demos this season.
Oh, no.
And that is
82
officially
demos?
an RSC record.
Yo,
That's crazy.
That is unfortunate.
Dude, what was your final win rate in Contender Tech?
None of our players played enough games.
Okay.
We subbed quite a bit, so none of us actually
Fair
came
enough.
close. The G Cole still holds the ME record for wins.
Okay. Fair enough.
Two
Good
left.
shout.
Two?
So, other than this Bex and Dolphino, ignore that record for a second. 3 current GMs hold RSC records. Who are they?
Oh, I know what this one. I'm not gonna answer this one. I know this one. We talked about this one.
Oh man. Is there a worst GM category? Like ever? Oh man, I'm gonna say I don't know, man. What the hell? How am I supposed to get this? Like, this is such a broad statement.
Oh, this is so broad, and it's totally just taking stabs in the dark.
Yeah, if you have, was
I'm
Boss
gonna
here when you were
say-
talking earlier about this?
I don't think he was.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, oh, I probably was. I probably just forgot. I'm not gonna lie. God, I don't know.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna say Hawk RL and Master. He's got he probably did something. Hawkish was just killing it. I'm gonna say RB Legend and Hum. I don't know.
So Panther in chat got one of them correct. Rob has the
Okay.
Vet MVP record with 32 MVPs in season 12.
Okay.
Staying in Vet, Hako has the cycle record with 26 from season 9.
Okay.
Dropping all the way down to Annie, Just Laban has both the goal record in season 13 with 97 and the hat trick record in season 13 with 14.
Good stat.
I thought we were gonna talk about.
Also, while we're
RB
piggybacking
Legend
off it,
being-
I just want to say 32 is also the most MVPs anyone's ever had in any tier, and then I did it in the highest tier anyone's done it. Just
I thought we were gonna talk about. I thought we were gonna talk about potential, like, worst percentage as a GM, but
No, that's
Give up.
also happening, because fun fact about those GMs is that they are number 1, number 31, and number 32 in win rate this season. Or franchise score, rather. So, woo! GM.
Woo!
Okay.
And
Oh
the
god.
last question I have.
All right, what you got? What you got?
There is only one tier this season where no records were broken. No team records, no individual records, nothing. What tier is that?
Isn't that Amy? I don't feel like anything happened in Amy this season.
Before you continue, I actually phrased this question wrong. There is one tier where no records were broken or tied. The cycle record was tied in AMI this season.
I feel like. Okay, so let's go through this. Contender, we know it was broken. We know it's not AMI. We know that
definitely not
rival things are broken.
Elite had something broken.
Elite did. Master had at least
Master?
something tied. Hawk tied the MVP record.
Ooh.
So Prem, Peaceful at 100 SBV. So that leaves Vet and Prospect. Vet had.
I'm saying Vet. I'm just doing
no
Vet.
one go too crazy. I would go. You can go Vet. I'll go Prospect.
Robin, half the chat is correct. It is Prospects. No
Let's
records
go.
broken.
Yeah, everyone was super mid in Prospect this season. There's no. My team was supposed to go break all these records, and then they just didn't. So
funny
Next
story. Donald is part of player recognition committee, and of course, Prospect is the first tier done. And he was like, "Hey, I need something to do. I'm gonna help out." And he was like, "Well, oh, Donald, can you just go through Prospect and see if any records were broken?" "Yeah, I got you." "Nah, nothing." I was like, "Okay, well, I guess this is going to be kind of common through the rest of the tiers when I go back and check the rest of them." Absolutely not. We had 25 records broken this season across all the rest of the tiers. I just happened to give Donald the one that none of them were
the
broken.
one that there's none.
Nice.
If Donald has an affinity for anything, it is participation. It is being there and just getting away with it.
Come. All right.
Listen,
All right. I'm not
listen.
gonna take this Donald slander.
Yeah, he won a championship with a 24 SPV in 30-something games. I don't want to hear it.
Well, speaking of one of your teams, like you were saying earlier, we're gonna move on to Veteran, which Rob, you've been real excited. I know you've been in the background. You're so excited to mention this team. You got to be proud, right?
I am extremely proud of my guys. Yeah. I mean, it's hard because this is the team that coming off of the draft that I have bouncing in my chair for an hour. No, not for this one. That's my ADHD. So we have Fluffy, who is a tier max, who's just a monster. We have an Edible Deer, who we take number 4 overall, who everyone knows him. He's been an elite player for seasons. Now he comes back. And then I find this Jax guy, who's a GC2 like 3 seasons ago. Draft him. He never shows up. We're super nervous. And then my 4th round dart throw named Chase goes and puts up an 88 SBV and has the highest numbers in Lunar. So it's this. They kind of had the expectation from day one of being this team, and they did it. So it's less. They didn't even overcome that much adversity. They just beat everybody every time someone was in front of them. And there's a lot of other teams that went through a lot more than they did. But I mean, man, they just were a buzzsaw from day one.
So, Supernova, right?
Yeah.
Supernova team. Let's see here. Who'd they get through playoffs here?
I think they went
3-0'd
13-1 in
Cthulhu.
playoffs. Or
They
13-2.
3-1 Calzones, who upset the number 3 seed Sea Devils in a 3-1. Then they 3-0'd the Gouda Gangsters, who had knocked off the 7 and the 2 seed.
Gouda
and then they
Gangsters,
played-
as the 5 seed, were the number 2 team in the tier, by the way.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And then they played against Possessed, who I was in a watch party for Possessed, and we were sitting there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was rooting for Possessed. I really thought it was gonna be a little closer. I didn't think it was gonna be a 4-1 beatdown. But your team really played solid in that finals. Just want to give a real big shout out to Tech4, who almost generously donated to me 34,000 channel points. Almost. He Amber
Yeah,
Hearded
I
it, just
might have
pledged
put
it.
42,000 channel points in.
45,
bet.
but who's counting?
Was it 45?
It was 45.
And I think there was 50,000 total channel points in after that.
And I
So
put in
yes, it was
2K.
45 because I bet 45,000 channel points and walked away with 47,000 channel points when I won.
Nice. Let's go.
I bet 2K. The opposing side from his 45K was only 3.1 thousand. So if I believe it was if either team took 10 shots, either team took 10 shots,
Yep.
it would pay off from my side. And I'm like, 2K pays out 34. That's not a
good
a
bet.
bad pay. That's not a.
I think
that's not a
Supernova
bad
ended
bet.
with 9 that game, right?
8.
8.
Supernova
yeah.
ended with 8. And I remember I'm sitting there like every time Supernova took a shot, I'm like, come on, one more shot. Well,
Yeah,
please
don't go in.
Don't score. Don't
Yeah.
score, but take a lot of shots, please.
Speaking of that, by the way, I have to tip my hat out. I talked to Raccoon personally after the series, but that possessed goal line defense was some of the best that I've seen, regardless of the tier. Like that is not a vet. I mean, my offense, that team's offense, is not a vet offense, and there were probably a dozen shots, literally a dozen shots throughout that series that I thought were going to be goals that weren't goals, and that was from Arctic, from Raccoon, from wow, I'm blanking on their third. Westies, thank you. They all of them played exceptionally well on the back, and it was essentially oh wow, Hammerhead's just 3-2 the number 2 team in vet. Wow.
That's insane.
Okay. Nuts. We'll talk about that in a
Wait,
moment.
was that right now?
That is, I guess, right
Yep.
now.
That is
Yeah.
Tier takeover.
Wow. Holy
Hammerhead
shit.
said we got
Good for
ourselves.
them.
We don't even need an event set up. We'll just go play some. We'll just go
Thank
play some
you
vet
for
teams on
Nate
our off
Bivens
day.
for the prime sub as well.
Thank you.
But man, Possessed was just not letting anything in, and I think what was really interesting was that there seemed, okay, Fluffy, there seemed to be a difference in just pressure throughout the game, right? It didn't necessarily feel like Possessed was outclassed. It just felt like they could never get the ball out of their half, and I find that really fascinating. Especially as a team that had so many offensive stats throughout the season, because that was the team that had the top 4 SBVs a month into the season.
What did I just hear there? I heard like a weird like it was like I finally got the notification sound for Nate's subscribe
sub?
to Prime. I was so caught off guard. I was like, "Ooh, somebody else subscribed?" No, Nate's finally came through on my mic.
Oh, you're
It's so
listening
weird.
to, you have the stream sound on probably because Moose said he heard
No,
it.
I have to have the stream muted because
OBS maybe?
yeah, because OBS I'm pulling desktop audio. So if I have the stream going with volume, you'll hear us twice. So I'm like, no, like I gotta have them muted. That's why I was so flabbergasted.
I don't even want to hear Rob once, so don't do that.
That's fair, man. That's fair, man.
Oh man.
Especially if my team got 3-0'd in the playoffs, I wouldn't want to get hurt either.
I have 2 ships this season. That's all.
Fuck. Whatever. I have 1, and that's the one that we're talking about. Again, shout out Fluffy, shout out Deer, shout out Chase, shout out Mr. Nuke. Putting together an incredible season and the most dominant playoff run that I think anyone had in this season in RSC.
The most dominant playoff run, in my opinion, is coming later when we talk with Mr. Dead Moose, who is still not here.
like purely win rate.
He's in the waiting room.
I believe it was posted.
Okay.
I believe it was posted somewhere, congratulating the champions, and they had. Let's see. Is it notices? Announcements? Oh yeah, in notices, Azathoth went 13-3 in playoffs according to this. I guess this is wrong, but Supernova says went 13-1. So, but what was their actual record? Because it said that we dropped a couple more.
13-2. He dropped 1 to Calzone, 1 to Possess.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, statistically speaking, the Supernova run was more dominant than the Azathoth one. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, fair enough. I'm trying to get something pulled up here because midway through that series, Dyer maybe made a small mistake betting against her own vet team in that 10-shot selection. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Can you believe that, guys?
Hey,
I mean, I can't.
man.
Actually, I'm trying to get a certain picture put into her timing. It's all fun. It's all fun. I don't know, she's not, it wasn't serious. If anybody here can see that, she might have accidentally would have saved her team midway through one of the matches.
Oh.
Well, boss. If we're just gonna be publicly humiliating people, I sent you another screenshot from that same person. You want to throw that one up? You can feel free
Another
to do that.
screenshot from the same person. Oh no! My God! Wait, which one's the accident? Was it the shots one, or is it this one that I'm looking at here, Dyer? Which one is it?
They
Which
both
one's
were.
Both
So-
were accidents.
As you put this one up, this one was funny because originally the vote for Possessed winning was in pink. So they put this one up that was do Possessed live to win another game? Yes in blue, no in pink. And she just saw pink and was like, I vote that one.
That's
And
so
voted-
unfortunate.
Put
why
2,000
is that
channel
so
points
small?
on her team losing the last game.
No. That's so weird. I don't know why it's.
To be fair, she won chips off this.
You got 950 by 950.
The NFL would. be
There we
furious.
go. Can you imagine if somebody voted
That's
it or
crazy. That's actually crazy. Oh my God.
I mean, she took my money, so like,
God.
it's fair.
She took her team's own money, it seems like, too.
I see how it is. She's out to make a profit. No, you can't be worse season. We've got far worse than what you could have possibly done.
But before we get too derailed off of it, I do want to give, again, like, massive shout out to all three of these guys. Deer was put in a situation with two dudes he's never met. Different ages, right? You're having to work with different types of people. And I want to give a shout out to Fluffy for just coming in, and he had the ego from day one that he was the best player in the tier, but maybe he was in day one, but he wouldn't have stayed that way had he not worked for it. And so I wanted to give Fluffy a massive shout out as well for just grinding through the season. And then Chase is apparently just in like a dozen leagues, so he was never here. So he like missed half the scrims every single match day. And being able to win in a league like this, when the chemistry might not come naturally and when you're in all these different situations and whatnot, I just wanted to again give them all a shout out for the hard work that they put in over the few months.
100%. And I give you a hard time for homering every week that I can. But this is one of the few times, man, when you gotta shout out your winning teams. You gotta let them know that they did great, and all power to them for such a fantastic season. I think we might be keeping Moose waiting a little longer than we probably should here.
Real quick, just one quick thing. First, shout out to Possessed for winning, but two, shout out to Rob.
Wait, Possessed.
Supernova, same thing.
Supernova, whatever. I'm not good at this game, but shout out to Rob. Right, has a phenomenal regular season, and I'm not shitting. I'm honestly not. Like, has a phenomenal regular season as first season as full-time GM. Goes into playoffs, puts four of his 5 teams into playoffs. They all look like they have a pretty decent shot. And then for 3 of the 4 to like get knocked out and think like we're not sure if we're going to come away with a ship after having such a phenomenal season, but then to win the very last final of the season. I was going to say props and shout out to you for taking that one home.
Thank you, man. Especially like Treco is another guy who needs to get a shout out, right? Like, and he put together 2 of the best teams we've ever seen in RSC. And man, they knocked 2 of my teams out. And like in your first season as a GM, to have a team like my rival team get knocked out by the best team of all time, like that's not fair. To have my elite team knocked out by the second best elite team of all time, granted they lost to Azathoth and we're about to get to that, but like it's tough. And so I appreciate you saying that, and it felt so good to snag that title in the last possible chance that I had. So thank you for that, man. Anyway, boss, take us away into the
No,
elite
it's
side of the section.
you're good, man. You're good. It is that time. If one of y'all want to go ahead and pull him down in here, I
gotcha.
will get the spots moved over. We are going to move on to the elite tier. The highest of the final tiers that we had came through on Monday. I had the luxury of casting this one, and I'm not gonna lie, fellas, I was absolutely flabbergasted when we got to the point where, we finished up casting the Chelly series. It just wraps up, and I message in like, hey, who's the elite? Who's going to be in the elite finals? Because we didn't know at the time. And all of a sudden I get, oh yeah, by the way, Azathoths are in the finals. They 3-0'd the Great Whites. I was like, no, are you kidding me? They were rolling. They 3-0'd the Goombas. Which were an incredible rebound team. They 3-0'd the Great Whites, who were the best team in the tier. And I'm just like, dude, that's a buzzsaw. That is a murder machine going through on a chip. And speaking of murder machines, Mr. Moose, how's your night going?
I would say it's going all right. My buns are sore because I went on like a 25-mile bike ride. And unfortunately, my fridge is emptier than I want it to be. So I'm doing all right.
Fridge is empty. Are you telling me you don't have anything to drink right now, sir?
I say, boss, you may have helped me drain what was left of it last night. So,
look, I just remember we had a great night telling stories, man. That's all I remember.
I would say, you remember that? I don't know. I'm kidding.
Oh God, but no, Moose. First off, congratulations! Fantastic finish for the season. I'm glad I got to be there. Every step of the way, as you guys really performed solid, through the entire series. And I did my best not to be partial, but it was kind of hard, It's hard not to root for a man named Old Man Greg,
My favorite part of Old Man Greg is the fact that he is technically young enough. He should have no idea what that meme is or that video. But he's got like 6 other brothers or something like that.
6?
Something along those lines. I don't know.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Chip number 4. You're gonna start moving on to the second hand there. How did this one feel? So yeah, obviously when you win more than one, you kind of have like a favorite based upon how the season went, who you played with, what were the vibes like. Mm-hmm. Is this one your most important, or do you feel like this was I've been here before, I've gotten that chip?
This one's especially nice because of the fact that it now kind of puts me above the rest of the league, the rest of the champions in terms of total number. So I'm kind of, I guess, pushing that Tom Brady arc, if you will.
Tom Brady arc. Okay.
I'm not trying. Not that I think I've done all that or anything. It's just I would say that's the best comparison in terms of just number of rings running around.
Moose over here holding up a hand like, oh man, Tom Brady arc, just entering my second hand of rings here.
Right. I say, as long as Dyer doesn't divorce me, I can at least keep more than Tom's gonna be left with.
Ooh.
Wow. Tom had 8, now it's down to 7.
Yeah,
that's great.
But no, I say all the championships runs were a little bit different. Like the first one was back in season 4 with Rival. My best friend who got me into the league. Hey, come check this out. They put me in. Well, it was called Minor at the time.
Whoa, you can't say that.
Yeah, well,
they changed it.
I can't wrait it down as a channel title. I think I'm allowed to at least say that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, no, you can.
But so I pop in, and then you know, I didn't go to any of the combines. He said, oh, your GM's gonna try and draft you. And, you know, sure enough, somebody didn't do their homework, and then the GM right beforehand is just like, I don't know who to grab. And he just grabbed the top name off the list, and since my name started with A, that's where I went. I got traded before preseason was over, or before it even started. So, like, number 1 was special. Number 2, I was kind of like the bench player in Elite before they had Master Tier, and I was just... I basically just watched as my team gave me a heart attack. Every single one of those games went to Game 5 and Game 7, so that was very different being a spectator, trying to be a coach, and just be like, guys, you're up, like, you guys are up 1 goal, 30 seconds left, just don't overcommit, as they all triple commit right in front of the other net. They get counterattacked, scored on. They took every game, I swear, every game went to Game 5, Game 7, and I promise you, more than half of those went to OT. But these past 2 seasons have been some killer vibes. Chips, for being the elite villain, I guess the elite villain from last year, he was, Chips is an absolute gem to play with, work with. Skullsy is something else. I always say Skullsy's got some banger advice. You know, he was right there with Defiance. His advice constantly was like, just be better. he's like if you want, and you know, Tech was saying, you know, I'd yell at Skullsy for taking all the corner boosts, and Skullsy be like, if you want the boost so badly, just beat me to it. And I
Man, that sounds like some Al Davis level advice there, Rob. Just win, baby. Just
Yeah,
win.
man. Whatever gets the job done, gets the job done, man.
But yeah, it's been fun, you know, hanging out in Tech's franchise and being able to kind of help team build a little bit more this season as an AGM has been a blast. And yeah, I really couldn't ask for better teammates, because if I didn't have better teammates, I probably wouldn't be getting the 4th ship. So I got to give them all the kudos. I'm just here.
I'll jump in here. Talking about your teammates, let's get a little spicy here for a second.
Oh no.
Oh, we're doing it.
Let's do
Because
it.
Generally, you call private messages private for a reason. There's messages all over Mythos that are very public at this point, so I don't mind bringing it up.
Oh,
But 2 seasons ago, you're on Dyer's franchise. Your elite team isn't doing very well. I have an elite team.
Baby.
I have an elite team doing fairly well, but has some issues. The chemistry wasn't quite there, so we ended up making a change. We traded Polar away. We picked you up. Can you tell us what it was like coming in to the franchise kind of midway, 3/4 of the way through the season, and just joining a team with Skullsy and Chips?
So it was, I guess, interesting to say the least, because I've seen well, you know, he was going by Doodle before, and then now he was going by Chips. So it's like I knew who both these guys were. I remember playing against Skullsy, so I knew the caliber of team I was kind of joining. But like the first time, well, before we even played, you know, Tech's like, hey, just, you know, talking with Dyer, and obviously me and Dyer are in relatively close communication here. You know, the one caveat was, am I going to be able to handle Chips' personality? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem, which is what kind of finalized that trade. And then before I even get over there, Chips is like, he messaged me something along the lines of like, I basically just need you to stay in net and hold it down. Like, me and Skullsy got this. You're just here. And I'm like, okay, great. And then I go, like, our very first session playing together, no voice comms. I pop into the VC. There's nobody else. And they just party up, and we just go into ranked. And I think we just got, we had a good first game. And then after that, I think we just got crapped on. And now it's just a tradition, before playoff games, we just go get smoked and ranked for an hour, and it seems to work out well for us.
Fair enough.
But yeah, very, very intimidating. I'm just like, oh god, I'm getting, I'm just gonna be on the I'm just gonna be the next one cut.
Yeah, so I'll jump in a little bit here, just for those that don't know. Of course, that season, like I gave Chips a lot of reign over the elite team. It's going crazy in chat. I love it. I drafted 8 players, including Chips. We turned over 7 of them. So like, Chips the guy, like you know you can go through players pretty quick until you get the right team. And I definitely know that now. I didn't know at the time, but I definitely do now that like I don't know if the trust was really there at the very start. Obviously, the trust with me was like in the dirt, but I bring it up because from where you guys started of like, yeah, we're getting this Moose guy. He's ass. Like he's not even good. I don't know why he's even coming into this franchise. To winning 2 in a row, and honestly, like between just jumping into ranked and playing together as like the tradition, but also, you know, playing BattleBit or all these other like casual games. Like it's really cool to see how that kind of group, and I don't want to call it a family, but for some phrase of the word it is, and I'm kind of proud of how you guys all kind of came together and what you've accomplished together.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to say the least, it's been it's been a good group. Like I've been around the league for a fair bit, and I've either played against or with an absolute ton of the people that are in here still. So you know, you've obviously you got your fair share of experiences, but yeah, it's been a close group, and you know, it's nice to be able to pop. You know, I pop online. It won't even necessarily be Rocket League. Next thing I know, you know, I launch BattleBit or whatever, and the next thing I know, I see, oh, they're online. Oh, nice. Or oh god, I don't even remember what that card game was. I already forget. But yeah, it's what was it? We were just playing some like 3-player co-op deck builder game. Yeah, so it's just been fun chilling. And
Hell card, according to.
oh yeah.
Chip.
Well, yeah. See, this is what happens when I don't drink beforehand. I can't remember anything.
Rob, you were pretty in tune with the elite chat and some of the trash talk that was going around, my man.
I was.
My guy, what was going on there?
I mean, talk your shit, man. Like, we ended up losing. They ended up not losing.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about that. I mean, like,
Oh,
okay,
well, which
you
part
can
are
see
you
elite
talking
chat.
about?
You can see elite chat, my man. I can't. All right.
Yeah.
So like,
What about it? I shit talk everybody all the time in the tier.
no,
What-
I meant like, were you the villain? Was there nobody
Yeah.
else shit talking in elite? Was it just you?
I don't know if it was just me.
Oh, okay. I thought. See, I thought I was handing you an alley oop for you to bring up somebody else that was shit talking.
No, I mean, like,
not
Donald
just
was shit
you were
talking a
the
little
shit-
bit, but I already dunked on him when I talked about his 20 SPV title.
Oh man.
Yeah, Donald, Greg, and Skulzy. Like it was really just like Azathoth, me, and Donald. And then the Donald was just kind of like over. Even though they made it to finals, like Donald's shit talk was like bottom over there because like it's Forza, DJ, likewise. Like, come on, man. But then Azathoth, you had like actual. You had real people talking, and it was fun. It was enjoyable because there was actual competition, actual rivalry. Like you look at it, like the people I'm
Bro,
talking
just-
to
Or
are.
just trash talk somebody else's trash talk on a live.
I mean, just look at the twos league, right? You got me. You got my entire team is Prem and twos.
Oh,
You have
God.
Skulzy Prem and twos. You have Chips Prem and twos. Greg is really close to that too, and then Moose is middle to top of elite, right? So, I mean, you have a lot of talent, especially in elite, on those two rosters, and it was a lot of fun. I definitely talked a lot, but we got at the end of the day, what happened is that we got smoked by the team that they smoked. So through the transitive property, they smoked us, and I have to deal with that. So
Also,
Yeah.
quick shout out Neutrino. I am so sorry. I think it was Irish who started the counting in Rival last season.
Oh man.
It was literally like they went A B C like down the lines, and then they ran out of letters and said, "What do we do now? I guess we do numbers. Let's just start fucking counting." And they legitimately, it was like 1,200 by the time I finally got out of Rival.
Actually,
They're
I
over
do have
3,000 now.
one more point about all the trash talk, and this is specifically directed at Skolzy actually, because what all of the other trash talk had was a mutual level of respect, and I think that's really important. And so after Skolzy and Azathoth swept the Great Whites, I DM'd him. I said, "Hey man, I was completely wrong." I said, "Talk your shit, man. Holy sweep, nice job. I was wrong. Go get that ship." And he responded with an 07. And that's it. And I just, yeah, I don't know. Some people, yeah, it is what it is. But like at the end of the day, I think what we all got to remember is that this is a league with a lot of children in it, and it's not in. And when we're shit talking, you have to remember that there are a lot like. There's going to be a lot of immaturity surrounding it, right? And so there's setting that level of it's a weird thing to navigate when you're shit talking both adults and children because when you and I talk trash tech, right? Like it's has a very different connotation than the way that the Skolzy trash talk goes. And I think that it would be a lot better for both the league and just in general, if there was a mutual level of, hey, this is a Rocket League that we're bantering in, not like, yeah, I'm never going to talk to you. You congratulated me on my sweep 07. Like, come on. So I did want to give that a quick shout and just tell everyone to be better. Just like talk your shit, but also like if someone is like, damn, you backed that up. I didn't. Also just like grow up. So,
Well,
yeah, that's all.
I think, well, the 07, in case you weren't aware, Rob, is a salute. It's like a kind of like a military thank you, if you will. Just in case. But that being,
I was trying to root for you guys, and then he made me root against you guys. Like I don't know.
that being said, I'm all for banter. Obviously you gotta know your audience, right? Because what you can say to certain people will not necessarily fly with others. So you gotta make sure, it's a for fun league. You gotta make sure it's light and fluffy.
It's like Rob said, there's a broad range in age there. Neutrino actually is super off. He said 14 to 34. I believe the youngest we allow is 13, and I believe the Chally team I assembled at the beginning of the season was an average age of 36.
Yeah,
I think we have players above 50.
There's players in their 50s.
Yeah,
like this is
up there.
Strut is up there too.
Hendo was up there. I don't know if he's still playing anymore, but
yeah, Rob, I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. I can't see
good.
elite chat,
Yeah.
so I thought it was like Donald talking
really
bad
just
shit.
No, Donald was. He was talking shit on behalf of his entire team instead of himself. And
fair
I
enough,
think,
man.
yeah.
I'm not a big trash talker. But it doesn't mean I won't internalize it, and you know, might be a little bit more motivated. Skullsy in rank chat he'll throw out a what a save as fast as possible. Let me tell you, but
Like
usually
I said, there's kids, man.
usually he'll do it to me. He'll do it to me first.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Big shout out Jojo Mojo 13, absolute stud guy to be around. A lot of fun. We were playing twos rank one day, and every single time an opponent made a mistake, what a save, nice shot, like great pass. Like that dude is on one when it comes to trash talk.
As we're trash talking and discussing how it's like fun to trash talk your teammates, I actually wanted to give a shout out to my boy Slate. He actually got me a warning in RSC for counting my own teammates' points in chat. So I would like to say that if you're that upset about losing over an entire hour of scrims, where you're gonna lie to me in my DMs and then report me for counting my own teammates' points, I think that's crazy. I think it's a for fun league, and you got to settle down. That's all.
Man.
Congrats on a
I'm
great
just
season
glad
of
that,
50-50, though.
I'm just glad that like the trash talk in the upper tiers, like with Moose and whatnot, it's not like it seems more lighthearted, but dude, that lower tier stuff, Tech, y'all gotta relax. Prospect talks so much shit, and it's like, it's not even like friendly. It's legitimately like, dude, I hope your car crashes on the way to work today.
It's bad. It's not good down there.
God. Oh, but no, sorry. Now that we got super sidetracked about trash talk, Moose, was there a team that you were just super excited to play against this entire playoffs?
Probably everyone, to be honest, because I think in a lot of cases we were a little overlooked in certain aspects. I don't think it was just Rob overlooking us. I think it was a lot of teams. That being said, I would have loved to have played Rob's team a second time on stream.
Bro. I wish, bro. I'm sorry I sold.
It's all
I
good.
wanted the rematch in finals so bad.
But
I forgot. Tech was the only person who had Azathoth's winning Elite. So, congrats, Tech.
Yep, he didn't pull a Dyer. He didn't bet against us.
Real.
Ooh,
man.
calling his own wife out on the stream after he just slandered her not even 10 minutes ago with Vet. Come on.
Listen, it's a callback, okay? You got to have continuation through the podcast, right? Like Rob and his rivalries. That was a like podcast week 1 topic, right? With Encreds. So
And here we are, still. It might be a every week topic at this point.
yep, I would say with some of the stuff you say, I promise you got plenty of rivals running around out there.
Hey man,
Hey, man.
anything that
Gotta be
motivates
worth-
them, they can't be losing this many games against me and call them my rivals. Is all I'm saying.
Ooh.
Oh.
Man just humbled half of the league. He's like, man, we call us rivals. We're not. We're not focused on y'all. Don't worry about it.
Swear. I was focused on Azathoth and I didn't even make it there. So again, just a massive congratulations to you guys. Like, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that a lot of people were counting you out, right? Like, it wasn't anything negative. It was that there's all these other teams that seem to have these just absolute, like, either stud players or like putting up just insane stats. Not that you guys aren't great players. Sorry, that came out wrong. That's not actually how I. That's actually not how I meant that.
I understand. Some of us just don't operate on another level.
Yeah,
Okay?
I
get it.
I already said it. I already said it in chat. I already called it. But like, I don't know. You would have. I'm going to use Forza as an example, right? Someone dropping to 85, a 90 SBV, people putting up crazy stats, and you guys the entire season were just. Genuinely, I think you operated pretty similarly to us as a team. It was a team effort functioning at a very high level, and where all of you played your roles and you fit in, and it's easy to overlook that person. And I think you had the chip on your shoulder, the same reason that we had a chip on our shoulder. And I wanted to, more than anything, just congratulate you on being able to back that up without chips and a new guy and just still take this to the top, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do want to jump in, talking about your teammates again, and really segueing off this without chips thing. I want to talk about all your teammates except Skullsy, because I don't care about him.
Bruh.
Sorry, Skullsy. Not really. Just kidding. But realistically, right, Moose, you went into this season, and everybody in the league, right, said, well, Azathoth was good last season. Doodle should never have been an elite. He carried them. Now that they don't have him, they're nothing. Can you talk through kind of what that felt like and kind of what you did?
Well, there are a few things I did. They were usually anywhere from 5 to 11%, depending on the night. Honestly, it didn't phase me. I mean, granted, the fact that Chip still had team perms in the server meant that we still had to deal with them on a nightly basis, which I'm relatively okay with. But Skullsy, I would say Skullsy could kind of do a little bit of everything. Bro is running around at supersonic speeds, flying around the field with all those big pads he kept stealing. So Skullsy was a little bit everywhere. And I had experience with Greg from Destin before. I knew what kind of player he was when he was in vet. And then when he promoted into elite, he said, you know what? Nah, I'm not ready for elite. I don't want to go there just yet. And I was super bummed because I thought Greg had a lot of potential. And he would have been my teammate on Destin at the time. So I was kind of bummed that he dipped out of there. So the fact that we were able to pick him up this time around, I figure, okay, I know I know exactly what I have to work with. I know what kind of role I need to fill. I know what Skullsy's capable of. All it's going to be is, what can we do to get Greg basically functioning at that elite level as quick as possible, so that there's no large holes in our overall game plan. And after grinding it out and going over some film on a few things, Greg went from being, well, I'll put it this way: if Greg was on defense, I was terrified 100% of the time. I've never been more scared in my life with a teammate on defense than when Greg was back there. And he and towards the end of the season, I mean, that playoff run, Greg came up with some absolutely clutch saves. And Greg just improved at just an astounding pace. And this man was running on 12 megabit internet in the boonies on an Xbox, no less. He just
Hey,
improved.
what's wrong with Xbox players, man? Come on.
There's nothing wrong with Xbox players, but I'm just saying there might be some correlation, maybe even some causation, to in-game performance relative to hardware that you're running. But yeah, Greg was a monster. We gave him a few pointers and he picked it up.
Also, piggybacking off that, boss, we had talked very, very early on in the season, I think week 1 or week 2, about players whose SPVs had jumped more than anyone else this season at the beginning. And Greg was actually one of the very first players that we talked about. I have it up here. Last season, through 8 games, he only played 8 games in Elite, he had a 15 SPV. This season, he ended with 56 played and a 72 SPV. We don't have like a most improved award in RSC. But I think that if
He's got
we
at least be
did,
contending for it.
yeah, if we did have that award, he would be one of the names up there. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to look at Azathoth and say, oh, they won once, they replaced this player, the other 2 got better, oh, they move in, they win again, right? Like, cool. But also, like, as you're saying, Moose, it's important to give Greg his flowers on that improvement. Like, 2 seasons ago, he had a 65 SPV in Vet. In the season before that, he had a 70 in Rival. So he's been improving super rapidly, and he seems that he's continuing to, and I think that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I want to give a big old push here, Mr. Tech. You've been a little quiet about your elite team, winning it all. You gotta have something for Mr. Moose here, right? Like, I don't know, like a middle finger or something, just something for your guys.
I mean, I really don't. Like, I've said kind of what I needed to. The big things for me, I mean, if we just want to look at this season, it was everyone talked about Chips. Everyone talked about Doodle. And then to come back and run it back. And not only run it back, but run it back in a 32-team tier. That's huge. That's absolutely insane. And then you have a guy like Moose who goes from an average 2-trophy guy that no one cares about to the 4-time in 6 months. Greg, you guys talked about, I was going to bring that up. Most improved player by far. I mean, his defense was atrocious. Like, we were terrified. It was a Moose stay in net or else we're done kind of situation. And then he makes the most clutch save in the finals.
Oh, that corner pitch, right?
Yeah, in the end of game 5. I think it was 5. 5. To not let the game go to overtime and put us up 1 going into game number 6. Like, it was just insane. And then you saw The air dribble in that game. I've seen other crazy plays throughout the season. I mean, the guy was clutch and really stepped up. The state of the team when we brought Moose in, and not only Moose, what you brought to the elite team, but really what you brought to the franchise. Both not only as a coach and AGM, but just as like a person that's there and cares, shows up to like team things. I mean, last season I had a really good season. I still replaced both of my AGMs. I think they both did a fantastic job, but one I kind of let go to grab somebody else, and the other one, I felt like it was better for him to kind of just take a step back because he needed that. This season, I'm keeping both my AGMs unless one gets a GM role, and it's night and day the difference of kind of doing everything on your own and having that grind, and then being right by my side and making it easy for me, and to make the entire franchise kind of run and everything kind of work easy while still putting an elite team together and performing at the highest level and winning a ship is incredible. So I just want to say thanks. I know I'll use your response and just say go team, but really good job.
God.
Yeah, go team. That's that's usually what I say. No, it's been an absolute blast. It's been fun. I'm tearing up over here. I say even my wife doesn't praise me like that much. No, I'm kidding. But no, it's always nice to be appreciated, to be validated, and it's been fun. Not to what's it? We actually nicknamed our coaching sessions Moose Abuse, or Moose Abuse, depending on how Canadian I was feeling the day.
Man.
I did it for a few of Dyer's teams, and I think helped out with some of the Vikings. I think it was the Vikings this past season too, because they were one of the players on there was a former player of mine. He's like, "Hey, we need some help." And no, it's always just fun to help people out. My IRL job is coaching anyway, so it's kind of just second nature at this point.
Fair enough. Tech, Mr. Rob, do you guys have anything else for our guest, Mr. Moose here?
Just a final congratulations again. It's not easy to do. You did it twice in a row with playing a different role, different team. It's impressive, man. Great job.
Thank you.
Well,
yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun. I say, if you ever need a fourth panel, let me know. And then it's pretty much all I got. Go team, I guess.
Go team.
Go team. Alrighty, man. Well, thanks for coming on once again. Congratulations on your season 17 championship.
Thank you. All right, guys. Later. Peace
out.
Later, my man. All right, Mr. Rob, Mr. Tech. I think we've covered just about everything, right? We've got the final 4 tiers, which gets us through all 9. We've talked about the show match on Monday, the show match on Wednesday. We've talked about the sponsors. We've talked about the squad clash tomorrow. What's left? Or are we all set?
I think the only thing left for me, I'm going to say huge props to both of you for starting this whole podcast. We're finally at the end of the first RSC season. I think you guys can kind of talk about what the off season looks like as far as the podcast goes. But as just kind of the guy who shows up every now and then, I just want to say props for putting this on for the league and giving the league something that they can tune into and enjoy.
Thanks.
Thank you. For this off season, I don't
too. Like it's cool to have you. Definitely stimulate some enjoyable and interesting conversation about the league, and it's really interesting to hear how you and we talked about this a little bit earlier, are on the opposite spectrums of a lot of things, but it's frequently leads us to the same conclusion, and that's fascinating. And I look forward to continuing to dive into that more with you on the pod.
Absolutely.
Fair
Boss,
enough.
take it away.
Once again, thank you, Tech. I do really appreciate it. This offseason, I know we're going to be making some small changes around here. We're going to be, unfortunately, losing one of our founding members. He has a lot going on right now and has to kind of step away. So we are going to be gaining some production. We do need some new producers so that Mr. Bastardella here himself doesn't have to produce and cast at the same time. So if you're interested in potentially producing for the podcast, please hit us up. We are also looking to expand our People's Champion role by 1, maybe 2, depending on who we get. I know we might be seeing the return of a king at some point next season. We'll keep you guys in the loop. If you're interested in any of this here, please shoot me a DM some point in time. That way we can get some communication going. We can see how things roll out and then go from there. I know we're going to be, or at least I myself am going to be making some adjustments to the intro. So it won't be the same intro you've been seeing. And I'm not sure if we're going to go back to the 4-man cast. I'm not going to lie. This 3-man looks real slick, real sleek. You get to see Tech 4 and Rob's beautiful faces much closer now. So things look great. I don't know. I like it. But all in all, I know we're doing some show matches through RSC to kind of test the water. I don't know if we're going to be doing a whole lot through the pre-jump because I don't really have an API built in like RSC's really developed. So we'll be a little limited there, but we will be doing some interviews. We're going to be looking for a GM to interview. Might shoot for somebody who's been on before, might shoot for somebody new. I know we want to get somebody that can give new players, especially an insight into what GMs are looking for. And we're going to be shooting for a player who's potentially getting promoted. I think Wheelman 95 might be a good option for that, honestly. Just killed it in Shally. Probably getting double promoted, maybe. We'll see.
How frequently do Chally? I do Chally to vet promo. Actually, fun fact. My Fluffy, right? Fluffy was a Chally to vet promo, but I don't know if I've really
I
seen
feel like
it
it's
that
not
much.
that often. I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's that often. I mean, typically it looks like double promos really stop after contender.
Prospect. Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems to happen that one person. It always seems to happen like one person gets the shaft from numbers and just gets
With the
destroyed.
100 SPV, that should probably be
Mhm.
good enough for that. Yeah. 105. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Never
Yeah,
mind.
he's probably getting double promo.
Yeah.
Oh god. But my man, that's what we're going to be looking for this offseason. So just make sure you're staying tuned. We're going to keep casting same bat time, same bat place. Like I said, if you're interested in joining the podcast, please reach out to me via DM. We'll start kind of opening up some communication. But outside of that, my name's been Boster Dallas since episode 1. It's not likely to change anytime soon. Robert, thanks for joining us kind of early on in the season here, getting everything kind of squared away as a consistent caster. And Mr. Tech, once again, thanks for joining us tonight. But for everybody at home, stay tuned, stay frosty.